Hello guys, ArkhangelGaming here and welcome to my patch 5.2 Unholy Deathknight PvE guide. Firstly, I'll be going over the stat priorities. You want to be maxing strength as much as possible, and then you need to be getting hit and expertise to their cap, which is 7.5%, 7.50 even. And as you can see, mine are just above that. I could probably get them lower. I probably should get them lower now. I'm just pissing around with the gear at the moment. I was trying out mastery, and I've just spec'd back into the haste. And as for secondary stats, you want to be going haste, then crit, and then mastery. Although they're really close together at the moment. Haste is just above because it's giving it's very good towards global cooldowns and also your runes, of course, your rune regeneration. As for crit, your dots have had a big buff in the patch 5.2, and so they're critting quite a lot now. So it's very nice to have some crit. And as for mastery, it's the same as always, increases your shadow damage, and that is at last place at the moment for PvE, remember. The gems you want to be using are red, bold primordial ruby, blue, etched imperial amethyst, and orange, yellow even, fierce vermilion onyx. That is a orange gem by the way, and the etched imperial amethyst is a purple gem. For your meta socket, you want to be using reverberating primal diamond, which increases strength and critical effect, not critical chance, remember, critical effect. As an Unholy Deathknight, 3 important things you have to remember is to keep your ghoul up at all times. Rune of the Fallen Crusader is your weapon enchant, and you want to be playing an unholy presence. As for the enchants in your gear, you want to be using on your shoulders 200 strength, 200 crit, on your back 180 hit, on your chest 80 all stats, on your braces 180 strength. Weapon, remember, Rune of the Fallen Crusader. You don't need any enchanter's chance from that. On your gloves, I've gone with 230 hit. On your legs, 285 strength and 165 crit, sorry. On my boots, I've gone for 175 haste. I've got the enchants on the rings because I'm an enchanter, and that's it. As for Unholy Deathknight talents, they're quite varied actually. In tier 1, I've gone with Roiling Blood, although Unholy Blight is usable because it's a good way to spread your diseases, but Roiling Blood and AoE fights definitely the one you want to be choosing because you can Blood Boil instead of Pestilence, and so you get a lot of extra damage out of that. Because Blood Boil isn't actually too bad. On your second tier of talents, it's entirely up to you and your raid. If your raid needs anti-magic zone, that's a very good ability in some fights, but only in some because it breaks very easily. So if it's like dots or damage over time from spells, then they're going to be useless. But if it's instant damage, then it's pretty useful actually. Lich One's good for you if you want to be surviving, but I go with Purgatory because it's even better for survival because your healers are bound to get you back up quickly when you go into Purgatory, and it's saving your life, isn't it? So if you screw up, then you've got another chance. To be honest, it's a Death Knight, so increases the chances you're going to screw up because you're not focusing, but oh well. In tier 3, I've gone with Death's Advance, although in some fights I do go with Chillblains when it requires me to kite, but there haven't been many of those in Mr. Pandaria yet. So I've gone with Death's Advance at the moment, just for the extra manoeuvrability, but if you need to stun, then Asphyxiate's going to be very good to take as well, but I haven't come across using that yet in PvE. As for the 4th tier, I've gone with Death Pack because it's a lovely heal, and the other 2 aren't really usable. They're both going to cut into your DPS quite a lot, so I'd just go with Death Pack to be honest, although conversion's a nice heal over time. You don't really use it in PvE either. As for the 5th tier of talents, I've gone with Blood Tap. Now, in this patch I've had a look at the priorities, the weights on each. I might be able to find them again and get them up on the screen now actually, but Blood Tap is just better. It's entirely up to you what you take in my opinion. It depends how you want your runes to be coming back, but Blood Tap, I did use Runic Empowerment last patch on Frost, which was pretty nice. I'm now using Blood Tap and Unholy just so I can get the runes when I want the runes, and it's quite nice actually, although I might try out all 3 at some point. 6th tier of talent, again, it's entirely up to you and your group, whatever you need. An AoE grip's good for some fights, especially I think it's the Spirit King's fight, I forgot the name already, in MSV, where you will get mind controlled. You can Gorfian's Grasp everyone to you, and then you get AoE down and out the mind control. And Remorseless Winter is good for some fights, especially with ads. Desecrated Ground is really for yourself to be honest, so you're not going to be using that in much fights, although it can be used in some. And onto glyphs, I've gone with Shifting Presence. Ignore this, this is because I was playing Frost the other day. I've gone with Shifting Presence, and Anti-Magic Shell is also a good one to have. The Glyph of Unholy Frenzy is good to have in PvE because it's less damage for your healers to heal, although it's not much damage whatsoever. Another good glyph to use, I was going to say Icy Touch, but no it's not. Death and Decay if you're dealing with certain ads, but you're going to probably have Chillblains up then, you're going to be Chains of Ice in them all, so It depends really. Chains of Ice, another one if you've got adds a bit of damage. But the glyphs are really entirely up to you. Glyph of Death Grip's good in some cases. Don't take Glyph of Pestilence if you're taking the Blood Boar spec like me. For the minor glyphs, it's entirely up to you. They don't do much at all, although you might want to go with Tranquil Grip, because Death Grip no longer taunts your target, but I tend to keep it off just in case I need to off-tank when a tank dies. As for your rotation, now this is without popping cooldowns. Remember, you want to start by getting your diseases up. You want to throw out 2 Scourge Strikes, and then you want to be going 2 Necrotic Strikes, and you're going to get all your disease. You're going to get all your runes turned around, and you're going to follow up that Death Cause. Get a Horn of Winter out there to get your runic power up. Keep doing Scourge Strikes, get them racked up. You're going to be blood tapping if you've got blood tap as a talent. I'm trying to use the least talents possible here, of course. You want to be keeping doing that, but make sure Death and Decay is down. Death and Decay does do a little bit more damage than Scourge Strike, but only on a mobile fight. If the boss moves away from the Death and Decay, it becomes useless. When your Dark Transformation comes up, always use Dark Transformation. Why is this guy spamming me with please join, test my macro? I'm in the middle of making a video. You want to keep going, your blood taps going, remember, when your runes are off cooldown, you want to be using things like Horn of Winter, and yeah, Horn of Winter and various other things. Soul Reaper is your main ability. I won't be using this, but when your target is below 35%, always have Soul Reaper up. You should be able to always get up. As you can see, disease has gone off just in time for Outbreak there, but you can top them up with a Blood Boil if necessary, and you're going to be spreading them around, as you can see, doing that. It's got quite a big range. Icy Touch whenever just a Frost rune's off cooldown, because it now turns them into a Death rune because of Reaping's been changed. And onto the AoE rotation in a second. As for your AoE rotation, you need to get your diseases up, get Death and Decay down, and start spamming your Blood Bowl, absolutely spamming it. And with your Frost runes, you just Icy Touch them, turns it into Death runes, more Blood Bowls for you. Remember Dark Transformation, keep up the Ghoul, does a lot of AoE when it's in Dark Transformation thanks to his cleave. Keep Death Calling to get those Blood runes going. Blood tap, blood tap, blood tap, more Blood runes. Just keep getting more Blood Balls, spamming Blood Ball. That's all you have to do all day long. Spam, 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 spam Blood Ball. And when Death and Decay comes off cooldown, you should have an Unholy Rune ready for it. There you go. As for the Death Knight's important cooldowns, first they have Army of the Dead. You want to be using this to engage the fight, or on some fights where you're bloodlusting, say halfway through and you have time, you want to be using it there. But it is a long cast, so you're going to be losing DPS while doing it, so I recommend doing it at the start of the fight in most fights. And onto the second cooldown that I come across, it will be probably, yeah, Empowering Weapon. Every Death Knight spec gets this, of course. Empowers your rune weapon, immediately activating all your runes, generating 25 runic power. I only ever use this when there's like more than 5 minutes left on the fight. If it's say 5 minutes 30 seconds, I'll just pop it for random then. Otherwise, you want to be using it when you've got no runes to use and you've got your runic power down to 0, or so you can't Death Coil. So then you're going to have a full rotation back up again ready. On to the next cooldown. There's a defensive cooldown here, Icebound Fortitude. You want to be using that to get out stuns as much as possible. The damage reduction isn't that much, but it does help your raid, so you're only popping it once you're in those nuking phases where the boss is doing a lot of damage in some fights, of course. Raise Ally is a very useful cooldown, which is basically Rebirth. It will raise a dead ally when they're dead, but only one a fight in raids, remember, in 10 man at least. Remorseless Winter, or raise Dead Your Ghoul, go for that. Remorseless Winter is a talent, I've probably been through that in the past video. Strangulate is your silence, also can be used as an interrupt, of course. Summon Gargoyle and Unholy Frenzy now, they have both 3-minute cooldowns and now have 0 runic power on the Gargoyle, down from 60 there. So these can be used in the same macro now for burst. I'll give you that macro in the description below. And I don't think there is any more cooldowns, no. That's about the end of my Death Knight guide, guys. Thanks for watching my Unholy PvE Death Knight guide. I wish you the best of luck in topping DPS meters and have fun in 5.2. Thank you.